Chapter 794. After Hosanna finished speaking, he seemed to become immersed in old memories, sealing his lips in silence. Yidit didn't ask another question, making the room instantly wrapped in a sudden quiet. Then a gentle knocking sound broke the silence, causing the previously dazed Hosanna to startle back to awareness. Yidit, do you think you need more time? I feel it might be time for us to leave. Recognizing the knocker as Kana, Hosanna quickly relaxed, the anxiety in his eyes dissipating. This revealed that he still didn't fully understand Kana's abilities, yet he trusted her greatly, acknowledging her competence in handling matters. Yidit stood up, dusting off his seat. No, we are done here. We will be leaving soon. Hosanna hastily grabbed at Yidit's garment. My request to you. Filled with fear and guilt, he couldn't meet Yidit's eyes. His grip was so tight that his knuckles whitened. Yidit, after a brief silence, finally spoke. My thoughts remain unchanged. However, I am unsure of the commander's opinion and need to investigate further based on your story. We will discuss this later. Honestly, Yidit expected everyone to share his view, but saw no need to provoke Hosanna unnecessarily with his blunt words. Understood. Yidit contemplated, looking at the crestfallen Hosanna, who let go of his garment. Nahan, who had personally verified the survival of Gale and Doyle in the cavalry, must have realized that the cavalry's policy wasn't to easily take lives. Thus, he must have surmised Hosanna's survival. Yet, he had made no effort to find him. Even when encountering cavalry members in the capital, Nahan didn't inquire about Hosanna's well-being. Given the relationship they had, Nahan's lack of concern was extraordinary. Hosanna, having been with Nahan long before becoming an awakener and even saving his life in critical moments, should have been like a real brother to him. Yet, Nahan didn't seem to place much importance on Hosanna. I thought they had been together since before Hosanna entered the Star of Nagran, assuming it was merely a long-term master-servant relationship. Such unbalanced emotions and relationships, were they all a result of the sage's brainwashing or something else? Lost in thought, Yidit mused aloud. But which prestigious family despised the southern bastard child so much? I don't recall hearing about that. Hosanna hesitated for the first time upon hearing this question. It's... Why? ... Is there a problem? That has nothing to do with my request to you. It was the first real resistance he had shown. He refuses to answer just this part. Observing Hosanna's face closely, Yidit pressed again. What if it is related? Can't you answer then? Hosanna's face tightened, beads of sweat forming. He seemed to waver, suppressing pain. His fingers trembled slightly, and his muscles twitched involuntarily. In a barely perceptible manner, yet growing ever more significant like a bubble about to burst, Hosanna hesitated. If that's the case, I must tell you, Wait, I understand. You don't have to answer, Yidit interrupted, raising his hand to stop him just as Hosanna struggled to speak. At this, all the subtle reactions stirring within Hosanna ceased abruptly. Seeing this, Yidit was certain. So you are unable to answer, aren't you? ... An oath, perhaps? I can't answer that. Do you know if Nahan is under the same restrictions? I don't know. The responses to both questions differed. Yidit gleaned enough from this alone. I see. I will not question further on this matter. Yidit then left the room. Kana, who had been waiting outside, glanced quickly inside the room before approaching him. Is it over? Yes. What was Hosanna trying to tell you? You probably have guessed it already. From your tone, it's about Nahan, isn't it? Kana easily deduced the correct answer. Did he try to persuade you to surrender or just ask for mercy? Seems like he hoped for mercy if possible. That's asking too much. If we spare Nahan, would he even expect it on his end? Kana smirked, wrinkling her nose. She didn't wait for Yidit's response, answering her own question. A person like Nahan would rather die than surrender, I bet. My thoughts exactly. Either agreed briefly, eliciting a laugh from Kana. So, what did you tell him? Either relayed the entire conversation with Hosanna to Kana. She seemed slightly thrilled to finally learn the past stories they couldn't uncover during their investigations. I have learned as much as I can for today. What do you think? Sometimes letting someone speak on their own is better than trying 100 times with my power. Kana noted, slightly frustrated. I read information, not thoughts, so it's hard to be certain about such distant past events. But the information you provided today should make future readings easier. After saying this, Kana lowered her voice and began listing her next steps. I will try to find out the name of the family Hosanna couldn't speak of due to his oath. It will be my first attempt to break through an oath, so I'm not sure how it will go. Probing more into the relationship with Nahan might also reveal answers about the parts you're suspicious of. And her counting fingers paused briefly. The brainwashing commands applied to Nahan. Her gaze sharpened. It's likely the command to do his utmost for the Star of Nagran. That explains why he didn't follow the sage blindly but was still dedicated to the Star of Nagran's purpose, unlike others. Either shared her view. The sage must have used such indirect brainwashing because he hadn't established a proper trust relationship with Nahan at the time. Back then, the sage would have seen Hosanna as more useful than Nahan. However, Hosanna was Nahan's servant. If Nahan had decided to leave the sage's side, Hosanna would have followed him without question, regardless of the circumstances. This was a certainty, an unbreakable truth, even if Hosanna was in a state of complete brainwashing, fully trusting the sage. Thus, to prevent the valuable Hosanna from leaving, it was necessary to ensure Nahan couldn't depart. However, Nahan wasn't easily swayed by the sage like others. The sage at that time must have been quite impatient, especially after realizing Nahan's abilities were better than expected. Even if it was an indirect method, it must have seemed like a good idea at the time, right? I think making Nahan name the Star of Nagran was the beginning of the brainwashing. Kana shared her speculation with the thoughtful Yadar. Is that so? Yes, there is no better way to instill a sense of responsibility than by naming something, right? I know from my experience with pets, the ones I named myself were always more dear and lovable than those I didn't. Responsibility. Either had never considered the link between naming and responsibility. Chewing over Kana's words, Either found himself drawn to the notion of naming. He suddenly remembered a man who had given him a name.